Hello, my name's Barry. Welcome to Christianity Explained. In today's video, I am going to help you learn how to research any pastor uh, that you may be of interest, whether it's somebody you heard about on the web or a local pastor. And and it doesn't matter. Why is it important that we check things out? Well, first of all, when it comes to local church pastors, uh, I am going to show you some traditional methods that works regardless whether if this pastor is a celebrity type, which I am going to use, or not. But I will also show you how you can use some other tactics to help streamline and get some extra information you may not. You don't have to rely on your favorite discernment channel to figure out who's good, who's what, and that. In fact, it's hard. For the gentleman I'm going to be using as my prop, uh, the guys I follow, who really are quite good generally, didn't have Pastor Greg Boyd. No, they didn't. Mainly because he's not really on the radar for what they're doing. And yes, I did ask Chris uh, Robo, and he could tell me because he does know who he is. But I don't find a video. That's why I want to help you learn how to do your own research. And and it probably will bring up some questions that you can go to your favorite discernment channel and find out what's what. So get ready and let the show begin. Okay, let's start with a traditional method that at least became traditional uh, in the early part of the 21st century. And it does beat having to knock at every door. Now, for today's guinea pig, and I'm sure Pastor Greg Boyd of Woodland Church would just love that bright idea. But I'm using him for a very specific reason. He is one, he's usually very transparent, upfront about where he deviates from the norm. And that's good because that's going to help in a later step. But first, traditionally, you would go, as we're calling it these days, you go to the church website. And typically, they will have a section that says, "Hey, I'm new. Tell me about yourself," which is great. Let me right here. As you can see, when 1 second, please. Something. Sorry, folks, had a little technical problem. On, if you may have noticed, on the Woodlands Hill Church website, they have an about us, or a little about us. They're very precise and right to the point. They have a fact, which asks some frequent questions. And very often, if I want to find out about who the leaders are in the team, these are great stuff. But what I would probably want to do is this, is go to the belief. Steve, what do you guys believe? It's important that you take the time to see roughly what are they saying. because word placement is important. And like I said, Greg is usually pretty upfront. And when I was reading through this earlier, some things here kind of like, well, I had a sense of warning and caution here. Like I've been told, careful. You might, me, I'm the guy who's going to say, careful. I might want to do a little investigation because I'm feeling a little uncomfortable here. Like I'm being told, no. And I'm usually the guy who's going to want to investigate why or not. And there were certain ways, like he was explaining about the fall of humanity and and things like that. So I'm like, okay, why am I feeling weird? Hmm, is there a great way to find out? Yeah, and I have to thank the guys for making things real easy. Well, sermons, recent service. This sermon. Good. You can ask questions here. This is a good way. I don't know about others, but I appreciate. Uh, let's see. Let's type in of your health. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. I'm not really clear. Actually, personally, I'd much rather go to their YouTube channel. Uh, all right. Here's another thought. Let's place you can go, and that is, I will bring it up real quick. And here's the other thing that'll help if you need to find out things. Like, hey, and you can learn quite a bit by listening to some of the sermons online, which they do a very good job. Now, how did I find out about this guy? I'll be upfront. I did read one book, but I never kept reading. And because of an interview I did, found out about this church, and some other bells were kind of like going off. Like, what's going on here that's bothering me? Well, I know they're pacifists, and he hit on a buzzword. Let's reconstruct, and because he's dealing with a lot of young Christians who are struggling to kind of like having to reconstruct their faith, apparently, and try to grasp and understand. So he's walking through that, and I'm like, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. All those are that's the spirit warning you that there's some problem. All right, and that's it. Remember, the Holy Spirit will lead us in all truth. He knows that the heart, because he instructed Peter, Paul, and John to test everything to see if it is of God, to investigate, not be afraid of it, not go on false just feeling, but fact. That's how I found out about annihilationism. Now, let's say I didn't have AI, and I did try doing a general search. Mhm. Hmm. Uh, well, I found out that he provides some good information and stuff. Just, okay. If you're like me, you probably find this stuff a little frustrating. And, and that. Now, I'm going to show, let me put this on pause. Well, let's do this instead. All right, take a breather. This is why I don't usually spend too much time trying to do search, because if you don't know where to look, it can be very frustrating. I did had Google do a act if Greg was, there was a lot of uh, some information it gave, but not quite. So what did I do? This is where AI can actually help, because it's like a artificial research assistant. Somebody, you can ask them to, they go search out the web for you and do the research you need. And remember, I was already applying the sermon. I was actually finding out, and I will show you in just a, ah, here we go. Okay. What I did earlier was I asked chat, uh, does Pastor Greg Boyd believe in the historical historical Christianity? Why? I wanted to make sure he was in line with what uh, is historically true about the Christian faith and what we believe and believe in Jesus uh, are supposed to be going to, as opposed to any old thing. And I did a very good thorough job. Told me, yeah, there are some things that he does affirm, which come from the historic faith tradition and, and everything. But at the same time, I actually found this out uh, from doing some careful digging earlier. So I knew about the open theism, and it was confirmed and everything. As you can see, I'm not going to read everything here. And also explain some of the variations and problems I run into. Now, here's the other thing. I also uh, did some digging. Once I had some information from my own research, I was able to go on the Woodland Hills YouTube channel and ask some questions like, hey, what is this view on hell? Hell. So I already found out before I had chat about his view with annihilationism. His own uh, blog site practically tells you, hey, this is where he is and where he believes. Now, as I told you at the beginning, Greg, it was upfront, transparent with what he believed. In some of his sermons I've heard, he practically came right out and said, this is what the conservative, the traditionalists believe over here. This is where I'm at. In fact, in one message he gave, he indicated where he was and acknowledged that he'd probably get in trouble with both sides. Because he is well aware. This is Minnesota, after all. So I appreciate that. That's why I'm picking on him. It's not an endorsement, but rather I need someone I can point to that's very transparent, and I don't have to worry about accidentally misrepresenting. And plus, he himself said he has a specific view of open theism. Uh, so you, so unless you want to find out, but uh, I still would disagree regardless. Yeah. Uh, so that's why it's important we do. And that's also why you should, if you're if that church has YouTube videos, which just about every church now seems to have for the convenience uh, of the congregant, great, they can learn. That's how I found out how Coach Roseberg was away from fighting for the faith. I even said to his wife, I said, this is what I actually wanted to see. Ah, oh boy. Now, not everybody is going to be transparent and obvious, and you do have to do some research. And yes, for those guys, that's what churches like ministries like the Messed Up Church from Stephen Koza can be very helpful and giving you and letting you know where some of the things are. But even then, you have to use a little bit of discernment. Now, here's another good example. Consider knowing my audience as I do now, and here's looking at my friend Baptist and perhaps some Presbyterian friend. Yeah, here's looking at you for this example. Perhaps I'm in an area like, oh, I don't know, Moscow, Idaho, that quaint, beautiful college town up there. And there's this beautiful Presbyterian, conservative, very conservative Presbyterian church, 5 point Calvinism, all that fun stuff. And and supposedly firm foundation. I say supposedly because I don't agree fully with everything from Calvinism. Now, if you don't know yet, I am talking about Doug Wilson. If you don't know, that man is about just as controversial as Greg Boy. He has his own kettle to deal with, and he's known for that. Oh gosh. And yet he'll sound very plausible, like everything's fine. Yeah. Now, how did I find this out? Well, my friend who I interviewed, who goes to Greg, he actually told me, uh, careful, Barry, because Doug is very conservative. He told me factually what was going on. He didn't poison the well, but he also had some extreme view in certain areas like slavery and all that. So you, he gave me some. I appreciated that, and yeah, and of course, like Greg, Doug has his own website, blog site detailing all the. It's a great way to find out who your pastor is, especially if there's like that. But for local pastors, well, you might want to find out. Spend some time. Some churches have meet the pastors on the first Sunday of the week. Take the time to find out where they are, what they view. Check the website, and again, watch the sermon. Now, after something you might see on the website, like, oh, hey, we were influenced by this guy over here. You could, if it's some, chances are it's a very popular personality. I actually did look up a friend, a friend uh, on a different AI, and it mentioned the name Chuck Pierce. Okay, all I have to do is, okay, this is what Chuck, the this guy Chuck Pierce, the director of Glory of Zion, all this stuff. Okay, that's telling. Are you guys getting the point? Ask some questions. Now, if I really wanted to, I could have said, "Hey, what influence? What get to know? Find out." And that. Is it a guarantee? Well, the people who are honest, upfront, and transparent will always be the guy you'll appreciate, even if you totally disagree. All right. But the guys who are evasive, uh, talk down to you, act with pride, watch your reaction, and that. hmm All right. Because that can be telling. Get to pay attention to see what's going on. Had the church been in the news and that things like that. And this is true with any church, regardless of where you are going and that. All right. I do hope this video is of value and at least it's, is a good starting point. And yes, I did also have chat because of the quote unquote progressive leaning of Greg Boyd. I asked him because I noticed that Greg doesn't exactly fit. And yeah, there is some difference. And according to my friends from Woodland, yeah, Greg is a strange bird. So check things out for yourself. And yes, I know some of you guys are going to speed through this video. Still, please let me know uh, if this video is of value. Please like and share. Hope you have a blessed day. See ya when I see ya.